Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to discuss about the data type called dictionary. Okay, so dictionary is one unique data type comparing to other data type. What is the first uniqueness? It doesn't work on index. So basically, no index manipulation. If there is no index manipulation, how I'm going to manipulate? It works on keys. What does it mean? Datas in dictionary needs to be associated with one key. Key is nothing but one variable. Okay. So dictionary is called as key value pair. Dictionary is called as key value pair. A key and a value. What is value needs to be? Value can be anything. What is key needs to be? We'll discuss that right after this. So basically, dictionaries are kind of keys and values. The data will be stored in a key, and the entire concept is called hashing or hash table. Okay. What is the benefit that you get in dictionary is that if it is index, say I want to take the fifth index. So what the flow will happen is that the flow will happen in such a way that it goes to the zeroth index, first index, second index, third index, fourth index, and then it will reach the fifth index. So basically, it needs to have the long travel before it reaches the destination. But here, you will be directly getting the keys with the one solution, with one-stop solution. It's like when I want to call a person with the names inside a class, there is high chances that there are 4 or 5 people. So I cannot call them properly. Okay. And if I keep a register number, a roll number, a student number, which is so unique, right? Then it is easy for me call out that particular number and get the person to do whatever I supposed to do. Okay. So that's how the key and value works. It's called hash table so that every values, every data gets stored in a separate keys. So on the retrieval, whenever I want to retrieve it back to my manipulation, it is easy. It does in a straightforward manner. That's why dictionary is having a wide usage. Okay. On top of this, dictionary can also help us in achieving few other stuff. There is a file called JSON. Okay. Java script object notation. So if you remember, if you recollect APIs, or if you don't have any idea, right, you just see other videos where I have discussed about the APIs, right? So during the development of API, the developer needs to decide what kind of output he is supposed to produce. That means at what representation the output needs to be. In earlier days, the representation was like in XML or in HTML. So if it is in XML and HTML, the way the people read the data becomes very huge, very complex. Then nowadays they decided that they have to showcase the output in the form of JSON, which is very elegant and user friendly. If you ask me what is JSON, it is one form of your dictionary. Okay, one converted form of your dictionary one. So that's how the dictionary going to help you. If you learn dictionary, ultimately you're going to learn about JSON only. Okay. So to an API, right? Sometimes the API takes post method. That means user have to send the input. So developer needs to decide how the user needs to send the input. Earlier days, same thing. They say that input needs to be provided in the form of XML, then user have to do lot of things. Even if there is a smallest of mistake in those things, right? The entire process may get break or get wasted. So just to avoid these kind of problems, right, it is always good that one common input file is used. Okay, that one common input file is nothing but your JSON. What is JSON? JSON is nothing but one form of dictionary. JSON is nothing but one form of dictionary. Okay, and you might read the MongoDB in the future with our videos to come by. So if you want to play with MongoDB, what is MongoDB? Basically a NoSQL database where you don't have any structure. You're going to send every data in unstructured format. Okay. Just because it is unstructured doesn't mean that you can send a chunk of data. You need to send any data but in the form of dictionary. So there also, right, the input that you're going to add as a part of a MongoDB is dictionary only. And you can use CSV file and JSON file there also. See, what is CSV? A kind of Excel file, one form of Excel file. So it contains the columns, it contains the rows. What does it mean? A key and a value. So ultimately, even the CSV file or Excel file is also works on the principle of JSON and works. JSON is indirectly means dictionary. So this is what the benefit that you're going to get when you learn a data type of this caliber, dictionary. Okay. So first we'll focus on how the dictionary works. So dictionary is represented by curly braces. Okay. Look at that, print type of data. When I run, look at that, it returns type as a dict. Okay. So now what I have to do, I want to store a data over here. So Dhoni, comma 39. Now when I run, it says now the dictionary is a set. Again, I'm telling set also has a similar representation to that of a dictionary. Set means a collection of data alone, whereas dictionary means collection of data with their corresponding keys. So what you have to do, you need to adjust it by declaring with the keys. Okay. Say age. So now what happened? The value Dhoni and 39 is associated with a separate entity of name and age. Okay. So now what is this? This is key. This is value. This is key and this is value. So basically this is how we call a dictionary as a key value pair. Okay. So I told you what is the absolute benefit that you get when you store a data in the form of key, the uniqueness. The data that you retrieve is very quick. So if you want to get the data in a quickest way, what is important there? There should not be any duplicate. So if you do this mistake, look at that. I have did a mistake by duplicating my keys. Both of my keys contain a same name. So what happened? Keys should be unique. So considering this aspect, right, Python will give you only one result. That is by considering the last value for the key. Okay, so when I run, the name will be producing. Okay, let me just print instead of printing the type, print of data. So when I print of data, look at that. The key name is now getting the value of Kohli, not the Dhoni. Why? Because the keys is now duplicated. If it is duplicated, it will take the last added data just to provide you the aspect of uniqueness. Okay, so this is how it works, and you need to be very careful with respect to the duplication of keys. That you need to be consider first and foremost. Right. Now, what is the next thing? Dictionaries are called mutable. You can do the changes to it. Correct. So let us try that. And before that, I told in the very first point that it doesn't have any index. So let me prove that to you. So data of 0. So what I'm trying to do, as like I do with the string and tuple, I'm trying to get the 0th index of my data. So when I run this specific code, it's trying to get the 0th index, but unfortunately, 0 is considered as a key in dictionary. So if you want to manipulate a dictionary with this particular representation, whatever that sits inside the square braces will be act as a key. So it says Mohan, you're trying to get a key called 0. There is no key called 0. You have only two key in the name of name and age. So basically this is the evidence that yes, there is no indexing. Then how do you retrieve a data? Just by using the key. Instead of 0, you can use the key data of age. So when you run, it returns 39. So this is how dictionary works. I repeat, this is how the dictionary works. Okay. What are the rest of the things that you need to understand here? The mutability. Okay. Now look at this. Data of name is equal to Ashwin. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to assign Ashwin into the key called name of my dictionary called data. This is how you should read. So now when I do the print of data and I run this code, look at that. Now Ashwin is replaced with Dhoni. In fact, Dhoni is replaced by Ashwin. So this is the evidence that yes, dictionary is a mutable. You can do the changes to the data, right? Now, how do you add a new key and value? Simple, the same manner. Put country and India. Look at that in the same manner. So India needs to be assigned. Equal to is called assignment. Assigned to the key called country into the dictionary of data. So it will look out for the dictionary whether the countries already exist. Fortunately, we don't have any country in my data. That is at line number 27. So what it will do? It will add a country. Look at that. It add a country over there. This is how you add a data to it. Okay, fine. Now we told about keys and values, right? Now the important thing is that what are the data type that I can have for my key? Okay, so let us try with numbers. 9. So basically what happened? I'm trying to have a 9. Let me run. If it is works, it will return the same dictionary. Yes, that means what? Number is a accepted key. So let me put some decimal. 89.98 is a key and that contains the value of Ashwin. So let me run. Yes, decimal is also accepted. So let me try with some reserved words. True. Rohit. It accepts. That's why it is returning the output. Okay. Let me try with the tuple. A, comma, B. That means I'm just changing the keys. I'm just checking what are the keys that dictionary usually accepts. So welcome. So when I run, look at that. Tuple is also accepted. Let me try with the list. A, comma, B, and then followed by hello. Now you get an error. When you got an error, when you are about to put a key in the form of list is where you're getting the error. So what does it basically tells you? You cannot hash the list. Okay. So now, if you look at all the keys, there is one common factor that sits beside all these keys. What is the factor? Immutability. So when someone asks you, what are the keys that you can have as a part of a dictionary? Your answer should be like, I can have anything as a key provided if it is immutable. So you can see, right, true is immutable, tuple is immutable, decimal, number, string, everything is immutable. So you can have anything that is immutable as a part of your dictionary. Okay, good. This is one point that you need to understand. And at times, keys might have a common value besides. You need to understand how it works. Okay, so let me put this. First, I'm creating a key called true. It contains Dhoni. Then I'm creating a number called 1. It contains Kohli. Then it contains 1.0. Then it contains Rohit. So basically, I have 3 different keys. That's what I'm thinking. But unfortunately, all these keys are same. What is true? As far as software is concerned, true is a boolean, which is nothing but a 1. So this is also 1. This is also 1. And 1.0 is also 1. So unfortunately, the keys are duplicated. So output will be Rohit. Look at that. So don't get shocked when you get output which we discussed right here. Sometimes I see people that they complain me saying that Mohan, you made a mistake because I'm getting a different output. No, it's not my mistake. It is the mistake that system sees. Okay, so make sure that when you keep the keys in such a way, this is almost right rare situation, right? But still you need to understand. If you go for interviews, right, they may try to test you by giving these scenarios. Okay, so look at the keys. Always, right, think in a mission perspective. Don't think in your own perspective how you going to understand. You can understand in a lot of ways, right? Don't do that. You should always think in such a way that how the machine is going to understand. That's what very important. Fine. Now with respect to the values, we discussed about the keys, right? Let us see about values. In dictionary, values can be anything. Look at that. So name. Values can be another dictionary. Okay. Surname. MSD. So what happened? Now the value is another dictionary. Okay. So when I want to get MSD, what am I supposed to do? Let me put this output is equal to data. Data is my dictionary and this MSD is in the surname dictionary, and the surname is in another key. The MSD is in surname key and surname is in name key. So data of name followed by data of surname. So now when you put print of output, will get MSD. This is how you need to manipulate to get the data. Okay. You cannot expect a dictionary to be very simple. Dictionary may come up with a different complexity. So it's up to you people to decide, or it's up to you people to learn the way you need to manipulate. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to form another key called age that contains a list 33 and 44. Okay. Now, how do I get only these 44? Same thing. First, you need to get the dictionary and you manipulate to the key that is stored. Now, the key contains values, but the values in the form of list. List means you know how to get the data by their index. So, output of 1 is your 44. Look at that. Look at that. So, make sure that you always go deeper to manipulate this stuff. Okay, now can you change the value 44 into 55? You can do that. You can do that. How? This way. Data of age, which is a list. And 44 is in which index? First index. Equal to 55. That's it. Okay. So print of data will be 55. Because here, even though you're playing with the dictionary, but fortunately you're trying to change the value of the dictionary. So you need to use a proper syntax for deriving that. So this is simplest of example that I'm giving to people, and you may associate with larger and complex scenarios when you go with JSON. Okay, this is how you can read or retrieve a data. Fine. Now, while you retrieving a data, let me keep this input. How do you retrieve a data? Output is equal to data of name. Correct? And you will be printing output. And let me print this. This is my Python programming. I'll tell you why I put this print statement. When I run this code, it returns what is there in the key called a name, and it continues to execute the next line of functionality. That's how dictionary works. Now, the problem happens when you try to get a key which was not there part of a dictionary. Sometimes, by mistake, you might use a key which is not there part of a dictionary. So what might happen? It will throw error saying that key error. There is no such key. Look at that. It says there is no key call. That's why it says key error. There is no names. So unfortunately, what happened is that when you get error like this, the code will get terminated. I repeat, the code may get terminated. So what happens if the code get terminated? The entire time that you taken to execute the previous lines of code will get in vain, wasted. So what here you have to do is that you need to make sure that you use a certain functionality that you have with your Python to accommodate these kind of unfortunate error. One method such that is, get method. Okay, let me put that in a different code altogether. Right. So now I'm going to do a better code in such a way that these errors can be eradicated, eliminated. What kind of error? This one. Okay, now look at that. Instead of me getting the data directly, let me use a get method. Data.get. What I'm going to get? I'm going to get certain keys. Now I'm going to get the keys which is not there part of my dictionary. So what usually happens? It throws error. But here, people, what happen is that, look at that. When I run this specific code, if at all it couldn't find the keys, instead of returning an error, it shows none. But what is the beautiful factor that is happening right here is that it doesn't stop the code execution. It runs the code and it returns the next line. So that's what basically happens with the get method. Get method means if it has a key, it will return the output of the key. If not, right, it will return none as an output. Now, this get method can be further optimized by introducing a special keyword. There you can set the default condition. Say Sorry. Now what happened is that when it cannot find the values for this specific key called names, it will return the value that I've written as a part of this get method. So look at that. When I run, it returns sorry. That's the beauty of get method. Okay. Right. Another important thing that I should have started in the first. I should have started it first, but let me add it here. So name colon Dhoni, and let me create another dictionary with another key age colon 33. Okay. If I add to dictionary using a plus operator, I cannot achieve anything. Look at that. When I run Fi, it says plus operator is not supported between dictionary and dictionary. Basically, this is not feasible. So what you have to do, you need to use a special function to do this. Okay. So what was special function? An update method. So what you have to do, you can use any one dictionary to update another dictionary into it. Look at that. Where is getting updated with where one. So now what you have to print? You need to print your where. So print where will have the combination of both the dictionary. There you see. When someone asks you why two dictionary cannot be added, because dictionaries are stored in the form of keys. So you cannot use a plus operator. Okay. Now, how the update method works? Update method works in such a way that I can take one input and I can store another input. So basically, within the given dictionary only, I can add or I can merge basically. How to add two dictionary into another object? That can be achieved. That can be achieved here. Output is equal to dictionary double star of where comma double star of where one. This is how you can achieve these two. Okay. So when you run, look at that. Both got added, but in a new object. Whereas in line number 66, one variable is getting added to another variable. That means it works only on the existing object. But here with this syntax, you can add into a new object. Okay. Fine. So let us focus on few functions. Okay. So variable is equal to dictionary name Dhoni age 33 country India. Okay. So now what I have to do? I have to use certain functions. I have to use certain functionality. What kind of functionality? First, let me put pop method. Where dot pop, and let me return the variable. So we already seen is pop is a method of list. Let us see whether a pop works in a similar way. It doesn't, because in list data type, pop can be accessed empty argument. Pop can be accessed with empty argument, whereas here I cannot access the empty argument. So I need to specify a key. So age. So after running this, look at that. A key and the value corresponding to that age is removed. That's how pop works. Okay. So now we do have another function that is called as pop items. Pop item. So let me remove anything. So now pop item works without an argument. But what it removes? It removes the last key. That's all. So pop means you need to specify a key for the removal. Pop items means it will automatically clear the last data. It will automatically clear the last data. Okay. And also there is one more method called clear. Okay. Clear is to clear the complete data of the dictionary at the end of the day, you will get only the empty dictionary. This is how the functionality used, and few more functionality that you can use as part of your for loop. Okay. So let me explain this here, and also you can see that in a separate topic in iteration. When I do the for loop here, for x in variable, and when I do the print of x, it will return only the keys. Okay. So if you want both keys and values, then you should be using this function dot items. Dot item is basically to return key as well as value. Look at that. And at times you might need only the values. In that case, what you can do? You can set only the values. Look at that. You can set only the values. This is how the dictionary works. So this is a few examples that how you can manipulate with a for loop. Of course, you can use dot keys also. So dot keys is gonna work similar to that of line number 87. So better to avoid extra function. Okay. Extra function means extra time. Extra time means less efficient. So line number 87 can also be used like this. Dot keys. Both are same. Even without the keys, anyhow, the normal execution gonna return the keys only. So these are the various function and the various manipulation that you associate with respect to the dictionary. Okay. Now, before we wind up, right, let me just quickly heads up a few things. Okay. Python do have a library called JSON. Okay. JSON. Why we need a JSON? JSON is basically need to serialize and deserialize your input. What does it mean? Let me show you this. Look at that. Name, colon, Dhoni. What is the data type? If someone says dictionary, I'm sorry for you people. This is not dictionary. This is string because dictionary got enclosed by the single quote on either side. Look at that. So if you're wondering why I'm putting this effort, right? Sometimes when you want to store a data into a dictionary, data into the table where it doesn't take a dictionary as an input, at least you need to convert this into string to put it to the dictionary and vice versa. When you want to get that back from the DB, it will be string format where you have to deserialize it to dictionary to get the data. So to do this operation, JSON will help you. JSON will help you to convert your string to dictionary and dictionary to string. This is one additional example that I want to give you. How to do it? Look at that. Output is equal to JSON dot loads of data. It is going to load the data. After loading, look at the type of the output. Look at that. Initially it was string. Now that got converted into dictionary. Now you can do the opposite. Reverse output is equal to JSON dot dumps. Dumps is basically to do the reverse process. So now you type check the reverse output and then you print this one. That's it. Now it got converted. So basically JSON is one library which is going to help us in converting a string to dictionary and dictionary to string. There are a lot of methods. There is a method called load and there is a method called dump, which you can associate when you try to play with your JSON files. But just on a short note, right, I thought of, adding this as part of a dictionary content or a dictionary video. Okay, that's it for this video, people. And we can see you in some other video with a better clarity. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.